Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into something that is quite literally going to transform your daily digital workflows. We're looking at the MCP Connectors Directory in Claude. Now, you probably already know the power of using AI to help with your work, right? But today we're making a massive leap. We're moving from a simple chat assistant straight into active multi-system workflow automation. Let's get right into it. Just think about your current routine for a second. You copy data out of Slack, you paste it into a doc, you switch over to GitHub, you manually create a ticket, and then you inevitably have to go back to the original thread just to check if you missed anything. It's just this endless, relatable trap of busy work. You are essentially acting as the manual human bridge between systems that stubbornly refuse to talk to each other. Okay, let's break out of that trap. Connecting just two tools in a single Claude prompt can actually save you 20 to 30 minutes of tab switching per task. That is a massive amount of time. No uploads, no copy pasting, no switching windows. Just keep that number in mind as we look at how all of this actually works under the hood.
All right, let's take a look at the Connectors Directory. So the real solution to all that busy work is a catalog of pre-built integrations for the tools you're already using every single day. This directory runs on something called MCP, or the Model Context Protocol. It's an open standard created by Anthropic, and it exists so that AI tools and external services can actually communicate with each other consistently. Once you're connected, Claude literally does the legwork for you. It reads files, it posts messages, and creates tickets entirely on its own, without you ever having to leave the conversation.
And accessing this is surprisingly simple. Over on the left side of the interface, you browse the directory and log in to grant permissions to services like Slack or Stripe. Then, on the right, you get these incredibly handy per-conversation toggles. It's super intuitive. You just turn any connected tool on or off specifically for the active chat that you're currently in. Now, your access level is going to depend on your specific plan. Free users can connect Microsoft 365 plus one custom connector. If you're a Pro or Max user, you unlock the entire catalog. And for those on team or enterprise plans, administrators get full organizational controls. That means they can restrict specific connectors by role or even limit tools to just read-only mode if they need to. Next up, one prompt, two systems. Let's see what happens when we actually put this into practice with a concrete project management workflow. Imagine a project manager turns on both the Slack and GitHub toggles for a single conversation. Instead of spending an hour reading through threads and taking notes, they just send this single, powerful prompt. Summarize the action items from our product planning Slack channel from the past week, then create a GitHub issue for each one in the Acme Roadmap repo. Almost instantly, Claude reads the recent messages directly from that Slack context, identifies the distinct tasks, and automatically generates 3 separate GitHub issues. Each issue gets an automatic title, a body drawn straight from the actual Slack context, and an action item label. Think about that. 2 entirely separate services, 1 prompt, and a single auditable exchange. It is an absolute game changer. Now, as you start scaling this up, there is a crucial pro tip you really need to remember. If you enable 10 or more connectors at once, they're all going to load into Claude's context window by default, and that can really slow things down. So just switch to on-demand mode under tool access. This is a neat little trick that ensures Claude only loads the tools exactly when it actually needs them, keeping your responses lightning fast. But what if your team relies on proprietary software? Well, if you need to connect an internal tool that simply isn't in the public catalog, you aren't left out. You can actually add a custom connector just by pointing Claude directly to your own remote MCP server URL. It's incredibly flexible. Which brings us to the key takeaway. Here is the single most important paradigm shift for intermediate users. The Connectors Directory completely transforms Claude from a passive chat assistant, where you just copy and paste its answers, into an active workflow participant. It reads from and writes to your actual services directly, literally eliminating the need for tab switching altogether. And honestly, chaining 2 connectors is really just the beginning. As you start eliminating all this tedious busy work, you really have to ask yourself, if you can easily chain 2 connectors today, what complex workflows will you be automating across 3 or 4 services tomorrow? The ceiling for what you can automate has fundamentally shifted. So, to truly master this feature, push past the basics and explore 3 fully worked multi-system examples, as well as some common pitfalls to avoid. You'll definitely want to check out the full chapter in the Claude Master ebook. You can find that right now over at claudemaster.net. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and enjoy building your new automated workflows.